Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the coronavirus update video number 58.0. Today's date is Monday, the 8th of June 2020. It is great to be back. I love doing these shows every Monday and every Friday at 4 p.m. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you're a long-time listener, thank you for tuning back in at 4 p.m. every Monday and every Friday, because I know it cheers me up and it cheers up a lot of other people as well. I've managed to fix my phone, so you're not going to have me walking around with the camera or anything like that. So again, welcome everyone who is joining in today. So we've got some news that we're going to be talking about. Of course, a lot of the regions have gone into phase 3. Madrid and Barcelona have also gone into phase 2 today, and we're just going to give you a quick update on what you can and can't do in each of these phases. We're also going to be having a look at some quickie news, some fake news, and things that could be happening after the 21st of June, which is when the state of emergency is going to end and the lockdown will be lifted. So this could be quite an informative video, so make sure you share this video out to anyone who is in Spain or has any connection here in Spain as well, because I know a lot of people are dying to get this information, and we're still getting regular messages from people who are brand new to the page, still not sure on some of the things that we've discussed on these videos. So share it out to all your friends, onto all the groups that you're a part of, and let's get this information out there. Alright, so what we're going to start with today is some fake news, but not necessarily fake news, just news that I just need to kind of rectify on a couple of things that has been hitting the headlines. So we've had a couple of people sharing some Facebook posts, apparently from some people from the UK managing to drive from the UK into France, and then from France, I guess, through the tunnel, and then from France down to Spain without being stopped on the borders, without being stopped by police in Spain. And they've asked, what's my take on this? Well, if this is the case, one, you should not be bragging about this on Facebook. Police can actually check this, and they can, definitely fine you on this. So, I wouldn't broadcast this on Facebook. Two, you're very lucky to not be stopped, because still, as it stands off today, the 8th of June, you still have to be a resident or a citizen of Spain to be able to come back into the country. Yes, this will probably be lifted on the 21st of June, but we're still waiting to get confirmation on what is going to be happening on the 21st with regards to the borders and who is going to be allowed in. So the people who have sent me these Facebook posts, thank you, because again, it brings a bit of light, and I just want to just confirm a couple of things. So if people have been able to get through, I think that's great. You know, maybe they've managed to get into France, because France is different to Spain with regards to allowing people in or not. But when it comes to the borders in Spain, most likely they're going to be stopping a majority of the people. So if you haven't been stopped, you're very, very lucky in this aspect there. Right, the next thing, British holidaymakers to Spain get the green light to make the bookings for mid-July. Again, this is headline news. So this has been making the rounds over the last couple of days, where Brits are now allowed to start booking holidays from mid-July onwards. But nothing has been approved yet. And again, we're still not sure what is actually going to be happening after the lockdown has been lifted, and we don't know what countries Spain are actually going to be doing deals with allowing people from their countries to come into Spain. So we don't actually know what is going to be happening. So Boris Johnson actually stated, and if you read this article properly as well, Boris Johnson actually stated he would like to make an agreement with Spain to get people moving from country to country around mid-July. So again, the headlight says green light, but in actual fact, this is not a green light at all. This is just speculation of what has been said. And we're hoping, of course, that this does happen, because the tourist industry, it needs a lot of people coming into the country to be able to reactivate the tourism industry here. But again, we don't know what is going to be happening. So for anyone who is unsure whether they should be booking holidays in July and coming into Spain or not, again, this is now up to you until we have the correct information and information from the Spanish side. We don't know what's going to be happening. I can kind of feel that, mid-July, I think most of the rules, especially the 14-day quarantine and everything in Spain, that will probably be lifted, and they would want to get the tourism industry back on its feet. But again, until anything's announced, we're just completely in the dark here, aren't we? Okay, the next thing is, and I just want to clarify a couple of things here. New rules that are coming out in different regions and different provinces. So we've been getting a lot of people, of course, I translate, and my wife helps me translate from news articles from BOE, which is the official bulletins of Spain. And we basically translate all the rules and everything that has been coming out for the whole country, for all of Spain. However, in phase 3, and we'll talk about phase 3 just a little bit later on. In phase 3, the regional presidents, such as the president of Murcia, the president of Valencia, president of Andalusia, they can now start putting in their own rules from phase 3. And that is, for example, the rules of changing times, for example, with exercise and stuff like this. But it's now down to the regional managers, the regional presidents, as to what they want to be opening up as well. So, for example, we've been getting a lot of people asking information about beaches and when beaches are going to be opening. Again, this is down now to the province, not the whole government of Spain, but it's now down to the province and the president of the province to allow these to be opening or not. So we've even had dog beaches, and a lot of people saying, well, my local dog beach is no longer open. And we have had this in previous years as well. They've actually closed a lot of the dog beaches through the high peaks of the summer. So I guess this is something that has been put into place by the regional president. But again, there's going to be new rules for each different region in phase 3. So I'm not going to be able to keep up with them, obviously. So what you can do, if you're in a different region, I'm in the Murcia region, and I get my information from the Ayuntamiento de Murcia on their Facebook page. If you're part of another region or another province, try to find your local province or town hall on Facebook, because the majority of the time they post out information that is factual, that is correct, and they will be putting out for the areas that you live the rules that they'll be following. Now, most likely, most of the regions will be following the state of the alarm rules, and when it's lifted, they'll be following the government rules and everything. But there will be some changes. For example, with the Murcia region, I know it gets very, very hot here, so there might be some new rules with regarding to the heat and the temperature as well. Who knows what could happen with that? But yeah, it's now down to the regional province presidents. So what you have to do now is just find them on Facebook and try and follow them. I know there's a lot of groups out there that are translating these PDFs and documents and pictures, so that's the best thing we can do as well. Wow, 1,300 people already. Right, thank you guys. For everyone who's watching right now, quickly give me a thumbs up and click that share button. Let's get up to 1,500 like what we did last week, okay? All right. Some quickie news, and this is going to be some quickie news with coronavirus, obviously, but not just necessarily for Spain. It's actually some positive here. New Zealand has eradicated coronavirus. Well, this is, of course, what the speculation is. Apparently, New Zealand has eradicated the virus, the COVID-19, with the last infected person or patient in hospital 16 days ago, now recovering today. So this means, well, this is what they're claiming, that they've eradicated coronavirus and they are no longer having infections coming into hospitals, which is fantastic news. Of course, it's an island. It's quite easy to close off the borders and close off everything and make sure everything's okay. But yeah, this is kind of what Spain have been doing as well. So we could be seeing something like this quite soon as well. Also, the UK are now planning a 14-day quarantine. This is now into effect today. A 14-day quarantine period for anyone going into the UK. Now, of course, this was in Spain as of 3 weeks ago, but the UK are now putting this into place. So if you are going back to the UK, if you have to get back for any emergency reasons, you now have to self-quarantine for at least 14 days, or you can have a fine of up to £1,000. Right, flights. I've been reading and, of course, I tried to update with flights with regards to EasyJet, Ryanair. They're the most popular ones around this area, Jet2 as well. And flights, thousands of people have now started to receive their refunds from March. So that is almost 8 weeks later. The refunds are now starting to come back, cash refunds especially, coming back to their pockets. There are still going to be many, many thousands more who still haven't received their refunds. And this was most likely the ones who have second booked or rebooked for May, June, and they are still waiting for their refund. So if this is the case for you, please be patient with the airlines. They are still trying to get the cash back and get it back to your banks. But if, of course, you are looking to rebook in the upcoming months in July or August, then you could just rebook, because sometimes it actually works out a lot cheaper for you in the end. And ferries. A lot of people are asking about ferries as well. And of course, with when they're going to be setting sail from Spain or from Ireland, from the UK, when they're going to be coming into Spain, well, there's not really much news on this. I've been onto their website. It still states that on the 15th of June, they will start commencing sail again. But we don't know what's going to be happening with this because, of course, the borders will not be open until at least the 21st of June. So what is going to be happening with the ferries? Now, on their website, it states from the 15th of June. This could change in the next week or so because the 15th is going to be next week, next Monday, and that could change. So if it does change, it could probably be postponed for another week, or it could be that they're going to be setting sail from the 15th, but only allowing residents and citizens of Spain to be able to come back in, just like what they've been doing with the emergency flights. That's what I can kind of predict that is going to be happening. But again, until the borders are open up, I can't see why ferries will be setting sail with passengers, especially. I know they're still doing cargo and freights and stuff like this. But for passenger ferries, I think that's a different story there. So until we get to the 15th next week, or until there is an update on their website or any news articles, we haven't actually heard anything about ferries. And if you do have a ferry in place from now until the 15th of June, most likely it's not going to set sail, and even from the 15th of June onwards to the 21st, I doubt it was going to set sail, and maybe they'll be postponing it or delaying it until after the 21st, but we'll just have to wait and see. All right, now for Spain, and let's talk about Spain specifically, okay? We are now in phase 3 with regards to me in Murcia, the region of Murcia. I don't want to get confusion there, but 52% of Spain are now in phase 3, the last phase before we come out of the state of emergency. There are still areas and provinces that are in phase 2, for example, the Valencian community, that includes Alicante as well. You are still in phase 2, you still have another week to go until next week, but this has already been put into place with regards to coming into phase 3 next week, if numbers are still stable and everything. But Andalusia, Murcia, we are all now in phase 3. And this means there are new things that we can now do, but not necessarily a lot of things. It's actually gradually opening up more things and more things with more capacity. All right, so 52% are now in phase 3. Now, one thing that a lot of people have been asking over the weekend, and I did state this in the video last Friday, it's of course province crossing and crossing the provinces to other provinces from your province. So I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible. I'm in the Murcia region. I cannot drive to another province such as Andalusia or Valencia or Madrid or Albacete. I can't do this, okay? You cannot cross province borders yet. That is most likely going to be on the 22nd of June when the lockdown is lifted on the 21st. However, you can cross provinces if you're in a community. So, for example, the Valencian community, unfortunately, this is a bad example. Valencia is still not in phase 2. So I'll talk about Andalusia. Andalusia is made up of about 9 or 10 different provinces, but it's the Andalusian region as total. And you are allowed to travel as long as you're kept in the Andalusia province. So, for example, if you live in Malaga, you can travel to Granada. And if you're in Granada, you can travel to Jaén. So it's all in that big province as Andalusia. Murcia, unfortunately, we are just one big province, so we can't really go anywhere else. But we can go with the whole region of Murcia. We can travel within Murcia. But I cannot personally travel to Granada. I cannot travel to Alicante. So for everyone who is still asking, if I live in Murcia, can I travel to Torrevieja? No, you cannot do this. This is only for people who don't have reasons. But there are special cases. For example, if you're signing in the notary offices, if you have medical appointments, you are allowed to cross over provinces, but you have to have proof and a reason to make sure that you are able to go into that other country. Now, if it's, for example, something to do with the banks or something to do with your property or anything like this, try to get something written down by either a lawyer or the office where you are going to. If it's with regards to work, yes, you are allowed to cross province for work reasons, but again, you have to have proof of where you're going, proof of address, proof of the job that you are actually doing, and proof of work. And of course, you have to be fully legal or self-employed or contracted to be able to cross these borders as well. It's very, very confusing. Now, most likely what is going to happen next week on the 15th of June, most likely the Valencian community is going to be opened up, and that region, that community of Valencia, Alicante, and all of the other regions in Valencia community, you will be able to travel between yourselves in Valencia, okay? Just like what Andalusia are now on at the moment. So yeah, it's very, very confusing. I hope that cleared up the majority of it, but what you should take away from this, you should stay in your province. That's it. That's all you can take away from it. Until we reach the 21st, it is most likely not going to be allowed to cross provinces or cross the borders of provinces, okay? Right, what else is new in phase 3? Well, something that the Spanish absolutely love doing is going to a bar or a cafe and sitting at the bar and having a tapa, having a coffee or a beer or a caña at the bar itself. This is now permitted. So, of course, for example, with bars opening up, you are now allowed to go inside the bar up to 50% in phase 3. Terraces outside are now opening up to 75%. But now in phase 3, you can go and sit at the bar, of course, with a 2-meter distance between chairs as well. But you are now allowed to sit up at the bar. Now, for a lot of the Spanish people, and even for me, I actually do like sitting up at the bar, having a coffee, a bit of cake, maybe a caña in the weekends. It's a nice feeling. You know, you sit up on the high chairs, and I don't know, you just feel more Spanish, really. So yes, this is now going to be permitted as well. What else is there? Shopping centres and department stores. All of Spain are now opened up as well, or opening up. So for example, if you're in phase 2, most of your shopping centres are now going to be opening up. I know Madrid and Barcelona have only just gone into phase 2 today, and that's the majority of Spain now in phase 2. And yes, shopping centres and department stores such as El Corte Inglés, these are now opened up, and you'll be able to go in. Of course, there's going to be rules when you're going in, putting on hand sanitizer, wearing a mask, because again, it is mandatory to still wear a mask. And yeah, that's some other good news there as well. Phase 3, also, there is no exercise time limits or time specific zones, nothing like this at all in phase 3, even for the plus 70s. I'm not going to say the elderly, but the elderly and the vulnerable, for example, they have been, of course, subject to only going out at a specific time, but no longer. At the moment, in phase 3, for example, the Murcia region, Andalusia, 52% of Spain, in phase 3, it does not matter. You can go out and exercise whenever you want, no matter the age as well. Even going out with your family, going out for a walk with your children, this is fine. Phase 3, it's basically free movement within your province at any time during the day. Also, a lot of people are still asking me about curfew. There is no curfew in Spain, okay? With regards to exercise and everything in phase 2, yes, that's still in place. But in phase 3, no, there's no curfew of when to go out for exercising or anything like that. Even going to a bar, there's no curfew or anything like that. So I just wanted to clear that up too. Right, and the next thing we're going to have a look at is pools, swimming pools, specifically for communities and communal pools. A lot of people are still asking, why isn't our pool open yet? Now, I did do a deep dive into this about a week ago. I think it was last Monday, where community pools were only going to be opening if the administrator, the admin or the administrator of that community feels that they can open up and they can put in the necessary safety precautions in place. However, the majority that I've actually seen around this area, they haven't been opening up. They are still blocked off. They are still taped off. And I understand why. It's going to be a big hassle for anyone, even in phase 3, for communal pools to start opening up. Now, in phase 3, it's still the same rules. You have to put hand sanitizer in. A lifeguard has to be there. It has to be sanitized or disinfected 2 times a day, as well as having the water checked on a daily basis, sometimes twice a day, to make sure the pH level is correct, the chlorine level is correct. And this is just going to be a lot of work for a lot of pool cleaners as well. I like that deep dive in the dive pool clean. Very good, Ruth. Well done. You caught on that. All right. So when it comes to, for example, communal pools, after the 21st of June, when the state of emergency is lifted, what is going to happen? Well, I can still predict that there is going to be some sort of rule still put into place, but I don't think it's going to be as strict as what we're seeing at the moment. Yes, the government will still have control of the rules that can be put into place for communal pools, but I don't think it's going to be as strict as what they are currently in the state of emergency. Now, we don't know what is going to be happening with that. For example, if they're going to be allowing people to go in at without disinfecting or anything like this. But what we do know is there probably will be some rules added in for communal pools, and this is most likely going to be going to the admin of your community, and they will have to decide whether they're going to be opening up at all during the June months or July months. So it's going to be very difficult to understand why they're not opening up. But of course, it's going to be the safety reasons of people not catching coronavirus. And of course, it's still doing checks and everything to make sure that coronavirus cannot be transmitted through water. So it's all going to be just very, very, very crazy at the moment. All right. Now, the next thing, face masks. A lot of people are asking about face masks. Of course, in the Murcia region, we hit up to 35 degrees during the week last week. And yes, we still have to wear face masks even when we're out in public. Now, the main thing is you have to remember you should be having a face mask on when you're out in public and you cannot keep a safe distance from people. So, for example, going out to a commercial centre, going out to shops, going out to a supermarket, yes, this is mandatory. You have to take a mask and you have to wear a mask. However, when you're out doing exercise or going for a walk with your family, no, you do not have to put your mask on. You can keep it in your pocket, but if there is a situation where you are coming to a tight path and you have to come across someone, then yes, you have to put this on, okay? So face masks are still mandatory in close proximity places and areas, so just remember that as well. And this is most likely going to happen even after the state of alarm or state of emergency has been lifted as well. And yes, you can ride your quad up in the mountain. Right, and the next thing and the last thing that we're going on to now, in phase 3, bars and nightclubs can start opening up, but with no dancing. So a bit strange. Of course, Spain has a huge nightclub industry. I would know. I used to work as a DJ for the last 8 years. I don't know, 8 years ago, I think that was when I finished. So yes, I know the nightclub industry, and I know that dancing is a huge part of bars and discos and nightclubs. However, what is going to be happening is bars and nightclubs, they are not allowing dancing in their clubs. You can only have tables and chairs, so you're only going to listen to some music, but you have to be seated at all times. Well, at all times, as in you have to be seated. No dancing is permitted at the moment in the state of emergency in phase 3. So, a lot of people had also asked about bars and clubs opening up with live music, and we're still getting a lot of entertainers messaging me asking when they can start singing, when they can start performing again. Well, it looks like phase 3, you will be allowed to work. And of course, as long as the bar and the nightclub has a music license, a live music license, then yes, you will be allowed to go back to work. And yes, you'll be allowed to perform. However, it needs to be under strict circumstances where everyone will be seated. Now, I know for a lot of performers, that's not an ideal situation. But if it means getting you back into a system where you're starting to work again, I think you should definitely start pushing for it. Even the terraces at 75% capacity, as long as they've got a music license, that bar has got a music license to perform music outside, then yeah, this is fantastic news. But of course, you, the spectators, you have to remember, you have to be seated at all times, or you just have to be seated when listening to music. You can't just get up and start dancing around. So yeah, that's going to be very foolish, I think. But yeah, I think that's only going to be happening until the end of the state of emergency. So we've only got another 2 weeks of this, really. And then hopefully it's going to be lifted and everyone can start boogieing again. Now, I know a lot of entertainers have started doing live streams and everything like that. So if you are an entertainer or you know an entertainer, tag them in the video or share your Facebook page, just because I think we all need a little bit of live entertainment, even if it's on Facebook and we can listen to you. This is your chance to publicize yourself right now. Tag yourself in the comments or tag an entertainer that you love to see and watch, and just make sure that they know that this is information that they should be receiving as well, okay? So yes, they can start performing again, but no, the dancers can't actually dance. All right, that is going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I'm going to be back next Friday, or this Friday at 4 p.m, just like I do every single week, every Monday and every Friday. So make sure that you tune in. Make sure you set your alarm, because a lot of people have been setting an alarm, even asking Alexa and Google to set an alarm for themselves. So yes, this show will be on at 4 p.m. on Friday. Until then, guys, I've got a lot of work to catch up on over the weekend, and I will be back on Friday. Speak to you soon. Bye.